Hey guys, what's up? All right. It's Double Deuce back here. I had a request on the Nitro Bruiser that I built, which you can see on your left. And with the new HG P407 coming out, I guess there's sparked some interest there. So the request was he kind of wanted a list on how I made it and the parts that I use. So I'm going to try to make it a quick video, and I'll use like some parts as comparison here so you can physically see, because I'm probably going to build another one shortly here. But here's what I did. Okay, I'll flip this around here. You can see I got different rear ends here and all this stuff that I went through. We'll start with the chassis first, I guess. Now, I bought this off eBay, okay? This is a used T-Max center chassis. Somebody, looks like they stretched it out, converted it for something. But, yeah, it's got a muffler on it, radio plate. And what I did was, I had my Bruiser, which the HG P407, same thing. So here's a frame. So I said, geez, how could you like set this on here and have it work? And if you look, if you cut the chassis plate down for the T-Max, you can get it to fit right in there. So what I did was I just trimmed it back here where the servos were. I left the center here so I could still have my throttle servo and stuff, and then I slipped underneath my shift servo, and I put my steering servo on the front of the Bruisers, which you can see here. I just made a simple L plate and put it on there. Now if you look at it, you can see the way I had cut the chassis here. I started with a clean slate. So what you're going to need is you're going to need like an old T-Max transmission, some servos, and the chassis plate to start with. And you can see I trimmed it down and cut it in and kind of made it look like a little rock guard there on the sides, like kind of shaped like a Maltese cross. And anyways, I got the engine mount, I put the engine back here, I put the transmission in, and then I decided to put the gas tank, the fuel tank, back here where the slot was in the Bruiser body to open up. Now, the HG P407 is a little different. They don't have a big hole here. They only got a tiny one. So that body itself, you're going to have to trim out underneath the cap in the back there, because it is this here just sets on here. You know, it just bolted on, where the old Bruisers were open in here. This whole thing was open. Let the cylinder head set up over here. But now I went through some different larva stages with this thing. You can see everything fits in there in a nice little package. I've went through different rear ends over time, and I ended up going with a 4-link and the Kyosho Mad Force axles just for stability. Probably the best axle combination that I had in here was a 4-link setup from the Axial Wraith. Those are nice wide axles, and the problem is they don't have any differentials in them. And when you don't have differentials in a gas car, yeah, the steering is extremely tough on it because you get a lot of push out of it. But so basically I just flattened out the original cross member a little bit so I could return it to its original shape if need be. And I centered the transmission kind of where I needed it there. And basically I put a couple of bolts in the chassis that were already holes. I just had to drill plates in this. And then in the back, I had just made a simple aluminum bracket to bolt the fuel tank to. And it wasn't that hard. The only problem I really have with this thing is the drive shafts. Now these are the RC four-wheel drive Punisher shafts, and if you can see, they are extremely sloppy. They're ready to blow through. You know, when you're putting high power into, you know, drive shafts like that, it's best to go with, I guess it's the pin, like the dog bone style. And those work extremely well. They last a long time. They don't blow through. There's just so much friction in these drive shafts, and it takes so much power to turn them because they're so heavy. And I thought the heavier the better, but I guess not. But if you look at it, I still have my leaf spring mounts in here too, because I wanted to get more speed out of this thing. So that's why I went with these axles and that. But if you're looking for true scale, these are the axles that I ran in at first. Now these are from RC Channel, and or a ripoff of them, I guess. I bought them on eBay also, the fronts and rears. And these have differentials in them, and they got pins where you can actually lock the differentials up. I locked the rear and kept the front open, and that worked pretty good. The problem was I didn't have enough width on the thing, and I had a lot of rollover action going on at higher speeds. That's why I went with these. But like I say, the best combination I had was from the actual Wraith. And you can buy online, you can buy many different versions of that axle. You can get them from Vanquish Corporation. They make some really nice Curry rock crawlers and stuff. And they're licensed from Curry. And let's see, there are a lot of the Chinese Ripoff axles out there that were, you can get them for like, you know, 179 bucks for front and rear, and they got differentials with lockers in them too. And the new style now, they actually got cables where you can lock them remotely with a cable now and unlock them. So that's pretty cool. But this one here, I basically went with a 4-link suspension, which I had made myself out of 1/4-inch brake tubing. And I went and I got some, I guess they call it all thread. It's, I went and got, I think it was 8/32 or 10/32 all thread. And I slipped it inside the brake tubing, because brake tubing bends pretty easy. And then from there, I just went and bought the, these are actually the Traxxas Ends. But RC four-wheel drive sells them. As you can see, they're the, you know, they're ball ends and all that on them. And I got a part number for you. And like I say, these are what I use for the 4-link setup on it. Now the chassis on these, on the T-Maxes, there's so many of them out there right now, and there's so many rollers. If you bought a roller without the motor, you know, I think it's Junior Biker X or something there was hitting me up on this. If you get the roller with a transmission, get the early transmission that don't have that Opti drive in it or whatever, because what that does is it's just more electronics you got to put in there. This here was out of one of your first series of T-Maxes, and then the motor's the 2.5 version. So and this is without the Opti drive. And the cool thing with the T-Max stuff, it's got electric start. You just put the, you know, the starter mechanism on it and just hit the button and it fires right up. And, you know, this was just basically like a, I guess, a project that's, you know, ongoing, because like as you can see, I was messing with my shock angles with just flat aluminum. And what I want to do is actually take the brake tubing and make some hoops so I can put the shocks where I want them. And I use the T-Max shocks for the gas because they're pretty soft, and it's pretty stable with this setup. So I hope this answers any questions and all that. But you know, you get out there and try to find a T-Max roller, even if it don't have the front and rear bulkhead and the rear ends in it. If you just had the center plate with the transmission, that's where you're going to need to start from there. and you can buy the fuel tanks online too. So I'd suggest a fresh fuel tank, just for, when these things set around, the nitro fuel turns to goo, and but it's pretty cool. It's pretty stable, and it's just an idea that I've wanted to nitro one of these things from day one back, and I think it was 1985 when I got mine. I thought it would be cool to put a nitro in it. When I had some issues with the transmission on one, so I had actually converted it to a nitro, and I put a Super Tiger 25 on it, and that pretty much finished off both front and rear differentials, the ring gears in them, and the transmission. It just killed it all. It was fun while it lasted, but I wanted something more reliable and I guess more stable and extremely easy to just to fire up and run when I wanted it. That's why I built this. But with the new HG P407 coming out, there's so many parts out there. There's so many different combinations of ways you can go. You can go with brushless, and I've built some insane brushless versions of the Bruiser, and it's you always got to remember, the more power you put into something, the more problems you're going to have, and the more research and development you're going to have. Stability, things breaking, stripping out, just a lot of problems there with your your power end of it. So anywho, like I say, hope this helps. Got any other questions, hit me up, and have a good one. Adios.